You're listening to the Beyond Sunday podcast, where faith journeys extend beyond the Sunday sermon. Join Pastor Jeff Carlson and guests as they dive deeper into spiritual topics, offering insights and reflections that resonate with believers from all walks of life. Join us for enriching conversations in faith, life, and community. This is Beyond Sunday.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition, a special edition of Beyond Sunday. And my name is Pastor Jeff. I'm here with Phil and Brenda Pusey, some longtime delightful people, if you don't know them. Surely you've met Phil. He works in our hospitality. He's out there every single Sunday, mostly because we can't get him to take vacations, but out there serving and leading our hospitality team. And Brenda does so many things behind the scenes. You've seen Brenda's work. You just may not know that you have. Especially if you're new to CPC. So hi guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you are here.
We're super excited to be here.
Awesome. Tell me about how, I know Brenda, you came as a child. Were you even a baby? Like were you
like
a baby?
eight, 9 years old.
So like
literally the very
we
first
don't want
Sunday.
to date you like age-wise. So
No, that's okay.
We won't say what year.
I'll date her for you.
No, don't do that. You could date her every day of your
Yes,
life.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came with your family.
Yeah. My parents were looking for an AG church on the west side of town. They saw the ad in the paper and we came the very first Sunday.
Wow. Very first Sunday that we launched. So this is your 40th birthday too for being in the church.
Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. So your mom and dad still go here.
Yep. Sure do.
And your brother is here.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a couple other siblings that are scattered a little bit more, but you've got a lot of family still
Yeah.
here.
We have a son on staff here.
Oh, we
We're
do?
multi-generation.
Oh yeah, Pastor Hawk is showing in. Some people just made that connection. They had no idea.
Yeah.
Pastor Hawk and Abigail, your daughter,
Yes.
are on staff
They're
here. That's
ours.
awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. So your kids were raised here?
Yeah. We have 3 kids. All 3 of them were here,
Nice.
less than a week old.
Okay.
Born in here.
And Pastor Phil, you married into
I did.
CPC?
Yes.
Okay. What's your background before that, before you got
So I grew up, I was Lutheran growing up. In fact, I went to a parochial school through 8th grade.
Wow.
Went to public high school then. And then my faith just kind of grew while I was at Purdue. Got my first job. I met Brenda the first week after I started teaching.
Okay.
And we went to a service on Purdue's campus once, maybe. And then as soon as we really started dating, we decided Bethel at that time would be our home.
Yeah.
So that was 1994.
So how big of an influence was meeting Brenda and sort of engaging in, I would say, a family, a faith legacy?
Yeah.
I don't know your family in Lutheran, but very different, obviously, than what we are.
Oh.
How did that help
I don't
your
want to
faith?
answer that.
Oh, go
Go ahead and start.
Either one of you can answer it.
He started that journey when he came to Purdue.
Okay.
I think is really when it changed. And so, which was 3, 4, 5 years probably before he met me. Always grateful for his background, but looking for deeper
Wanted
relationship.
to own it himself.
But I don't even know if he knew for sure until the right people came into his life.
So I would say it was like, I am grateful for all the background, the biblical knowledge that I had from my K through 8 teaching. And then I had a friend group that were pursuing the Lord. And so that was the next step. I just think the Lord's so gracious to take us step by step. Right. Because if I had, as a Lutheran, maybe come to Connection Point for the first time, I'd been taken back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he kept stepping me through step by step. And so it wasn't really that big of a deal when I started coming.
You were hungry, though,
I was
seems
hungry.
like, for knowledge and truth and God and what the Lord wanted to do in your
I
life.
always wanted to be wherever the Lord wanted me to be.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what that really looked
Were you
like.
just bent that way, or like did that come out of your mom and dad, your upbringing?
It's probably a little bit of all of it. My mom and dad are faithful believers in Christ. They love Jesus with everything they have, right? And so I look to them a lot of times as models, like how you would want to treat somebody else. And that's been so important in my life. I felt like the Lord just kept revealing more and more to me where he wanted me to be walking, where he needed me to be. So
you meet Brenda. How long did it take you to be like, I'm going to marry this girl? This isn't a marriage podcast.
We were engaged in 3 months.
yeah, we were engaged for 3 months.
How did your families feel about that?
So I'm the youngest of 4.
Were your parents like, finally, they're all gone?
But
Happily.
they did tell me later, they had the most peace about us, even
Really?
though all my siblings married like high school sweethearts, so they were dating a long time, and we had a very short dating season,
Yeah.
but they had a lot of peace. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, my parents, same. They were super excited. I remember going home and they had met Brenda once before.
The second time we were engaged.
Second time she met my parents, we were engaged, and my dad. I remember my dad's first words were "redheaded grandkids." He was like, "Oh yes, redheaded grandkids." I was like, "Okay."
Fox a blonde. I think.
Yeah, I know. Adora, we got Adora.
the
So.
last one we got.
That's
one.
true. Adora is very yeah. Awesome. So you let's just fast forward a little bit. You get married. You're putting roots down. You know, you've already been in the church. What kind of impact has the church through the years, all the stages of life? You know, from being a newlywed or even a pre-married to newlywed to having little kids to having teenagers. Now with one grandbaby.
Yeah.
Brand new.
How has Connection Point not really so much the church, but the people that are the church?
Oh,
what kind of impact has that had? Describe some of that for us.
It's family. That's the only word there is for it. It's family. Like you don't quit family, and I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
It is everything. Like even opportunity for a different job or, to move. It's not even on the table unless God directs it, you know?
Yeah.
It really is everything. We are beyond blessed for the time that we've been here. And, I don't even know what it's like to shop for a church.
Yeah, and
I
You
can
don't
tell
have
you,
to move
it's
to
not
go
enjoyable.
anywhere. It's like when you got the best, you got the best. There's no other way to say it, you know? But it's everything.
That's really an emotional question to
It is.
ask, because if you honestly, like, if I
was my
think
goal.
back, yeah, wow, if I think back to all the things, the great things God has done through the people of Connection Point Church, I think back to, especially when we were first married, like we were part of Partners for Life, which was
Very
a small
close to
group.
Pastor Steve and Debbie Buckner.
Yes, all these young couples that were just pursuing the Lord together and trying to strengthen one another. I think about when our kids went through all the kids ministries and youth group. There's different people speaking into their lives year after year, faithful people. Like I could just go through and you could name all the faithful people that have.
Well, I want you to give me
Yes.
I don't know, 3 or 4 names, families that had just deep impact in you. Not your own family. We obviously know that your family did, but what are some folks that just invested in you?
Well, I would say even starting with Pastor Austin, we did marriage counseling with him and he married us, but then even Pastor Ted, he's kind of my buddy. Anytime he heard me in the hallway, he'd go, "Brenda, come in here." He'd always want me to come talk with him and stuff. But Steve and Debbie were huge. And they were like a peer group, but huge. They were the first people, I think, that gave us a love for ministry, not just being involved or being a part of the church, but really saying, "God, what do you have for us? And what is the impact that you're, placing in our hands to hold back up to you? What is it that we can
How do I
do?
steward this that you put?
Absolutely. That's the best word. I use the word steward a lot.
Yeah.
But Steve and Debbie were the first ones who really did that for us. And then, we've got tons of friend groups, but
I would think in our kids' life, I just think of the faithfulness of Karen Daniels. Like that was one of probably one of the least acknowledged servant in the children's ministry. Like I do not want to shortchange what Ginger has done at all. Ginger is like across the board, like that's a name that comes up. But Karen Daniels, she was so influential, all 3 of our kids, and she just has served faithfully for year in and year out. And I just think the influence that she has made it was very impactful.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can begin to name people. Ginger was a personal mentor of mine. I'd say a good 10 years. And the funny thing is now I see her and Hawk in that role. They have lunch once a week together. Yeah. It's so great. But there really are so many. There's, for years, maybe 8 years or so, Phil would meet Leon Troyer in the early mornings, before they would go off to work.
Yeah.
So that was like a mentor relationship there. Right now we're a little bit on the other side.
I was going to say
we've got
you're
young
on the other
couples
side of it now.
That we.
So how are you now investing in? Like you're almost paying it forward now to the next generation. You've become the mentors, and you're pouring into other people. So how are you doing that today? How are you taking all that and putting that back into others?
I think it's a lot about looking for opportunities like the Lord. If you're praying about having opportunities to speak to people or to be used by Him, again, like that was, I think my lifelong goal is like, Lord, just use me wherever you need me to be, is look for those opportunities. So we've had small groups in our home where, they've been really small, very diverse in nature. And it's just like,
They're so rich.
yes, it's
Oh.
spiritually
Good
rich.
plug for life groups. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it was so
I
impactful.
mean, out of that, Phil did marriage counseling and
Yeah.
married a young
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
That's kind of my heartbeat. I love the idea of they're brand new, they're just getting started. Let me help you. Let's start it out the right way. I'm very attracted to young adults in that way.
Young married or soon to be married.
Yes,
role.
yes.
How am I going to build my life together?
Yes. It's like oneness is a huge thing for Phil and I. And I think it's lacking in our culture. We are very much a divide and conquer in how much can we fit in a schedule.
Yeah.
And so families are constantly going different directions.
Yeah.
And, oneness is a big thing for us. And so
And all the marriage counseling I do, I find, they say communication is the number one issue in marriage, and then financial things or whatever. And they have this list, but for a couple that would believe in the Lord, it's really oneness, because inevitably, whenever I sit down with that couple that's having marital problems, they're not one in every way. They
it's
either
just
have
the surface, the stuff coming out on the
like
surface.
they're married, but they have separate financial accounts, or they have separate schedules, so that you pay these bills and I pay these bills,
or even just views on separate.
Just views, and they have never come together. Like, here's what
Yes.
we're gonna think and what we believe.
Yes.
And so that, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's the root of all those other issues that come out of marriages.
I think of what a friend of mine told me at school, and it applies so much to how Brenda and I approach our marriage, is that my friend told me I would always rather do it your way and us to do it the same than to have it done my way.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is a way that Brenda and I have tried to operate, is like I'd rather give up whatever my view is and do it Brenda's way, so that we're doing it together.
That's so nice of you. I don't know if I could do that.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I'll tell
honey.
you, there's been times where
when it's mutual,
I've
it's
actually
beautiful,
been-
right?
Well, right.
I've been wrong, maybe. And he's backed me to our kids when they were still in the house. And even though I was wrong,
Yeah.
where I don't know that I'm that gracious the other way around.
Yeah.
I want to more correct rather
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
but you have to,
I'm like that.
but you have
for
to
sure.
purpose it. If you don't purpose it, you're not going to live that life that's
Yeah.
investing in other people. So
Good. Talk to me about, here we are, 40 years old as a church. You've been here for all 40 of those years, Brenda. Phil, you're what, 30-ish of those years? I've been here for 2. So I'm the baby.
We're
in
not
the room.
counting.
I know, I do. Tell me a couple of things, like, man, as you pray for our church, as you through the years, what are the things now that you're so looking forward to what God is going to do? Even things maybe He spoke many years ago that just have never come to fruition, that He may even yet have in the future. What are those things that stir your heart about what this church not only has been, but what it's becoming? Give me a couple of things.
okay, just a few things that are real quick coming to my mind is I know of some things years ago that God had given me, a vision of, or kind of spoken to my heart that I have seen happen.
Yeah.
Which when it does, you just you're blown away by it. But I think in current time, in the last couple years, the biggest thing that has been on my heart is praying over this leadership and this team, because I believe so strongly in God's way. And there's a little bit that you have to fight culture, because, that's just not really how things are right now. But I believe so strongly in seeing who He's brought in and the things that are happening, that there's nothing greater that we can be doing than praying for our leadership. And every day. I like, there's, all 9 of you guys, I got you listed out. I got, but I'm praying for his vision to be opened up to all of you guys, for it to fit together like a puzzle piece, and the unity of that. And I look forward to falling in suit, under the things that come out of your mouth, from the pulpit sometimes.
Hopefully.
But I know that you're visionary, and that lights me up like I can't even explain. And so I'm just praying, God, just, let him see your vision.
You're really dangerous in that way together, right? We have the vision. Yeah.
But I am super excited for the things that I think are not going to look like what we think. Mm-hmm. I am very much like, if we've seen it done and you've seen it duplicated, that might not necessarily be what God's doing. Mm-hmm. That might just be kind of the trend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking forward to very much maybe what we have not seen.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is. Exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where my heart has been recently. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's birthed out of prayer, though. What I've seen at Connection Point is when I've grown the most, or when things have made the greatest leaps at Connection Point, it's when the body was praying, like
true.
You coming.
It's like, true. Oh, the depth of that.
Time of prayer before Zach Maddox came, that time of prayer when there's like, we felt like we didn't have control, we needed to give it to God. It's when that happens, great things happened. And I feel like that's what we've been setting the groundwork. That was words from your mouth, right? That's God's been setting that in the prayers that we've been offering up. And so what I have a great hope for is, like, I feel like God gave me a mission statement for my own life is finding the value and potential in people, and then helping them see that same value and potential. I see that across the board. Yeah. I see, we birth the Lafayette campus, right? There's people over there that don't understand that God made them in his image, and
nobody's ever told them that.
Nobody's
ever spoken into their life.
Yes. And so I feel like so many times we get into our own, people come to church and we do our church and we be with our people. Yeah. It's about God's people. Yeah. And so that really excites me, that we're opening boundaries in areas that the miracle area, the spot where we should have, we're getting a harvest.
We have no right to be there.
We have no right to be there. And
in our own self.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's what, kind of excites me, is that opportunity to look to people and give them value and potential and call it out in their lives.
Awesome. See the call of God expanded. And I think we've been praying that, we've been pushing, we say on our prayer time, we push back darkness, but really the only reason we push back darkness is so that we can push the tent pegs out just a little bit more, push them out just a little bit more, gather one more harvest field, get into one more space, one more person that we can now move into their lives as we push the darkness out. So I think that totally lies.
Last fall during our corporate prayer, passionate core prayer, I had just a vision, I feel like, from God, and it was just all these lights in different parts of our building. It was like every single closet, every single room, every part of Connection Point Church. But then it was like God said, it's not limited to this building. Mm-hmm. And so then I just saw these candle lights just all over Greater Lafayette. And it was like I was limited to CPC, right? Yeah. And so I just keep going back to that vision. I saw all these they were little lights. They weren't very big, but it lit out the place.
But all combined.
That's
amazing. I'll give you guys the last word. You got anything else you want to add?
I cannot wait for what's next.
Yep. What do you say?
I can't wait to pull that out of your head as the Lord shows us what's next, that we follow him together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love being on the journey just with you, so many other people in our church. I think that for me is the greatest honor. It's not the things we'll get to do as much as being on the journey with people that, as Brenda, you said earlier, you genuinely see as family and love. Yeah. You love them, they love you. There's a caring and a concern. and we're moving together, and we don't want to get out of step with one another. There's not a lot
out of step with the Lord.
or out, well, right.
Yeah.
But I think the more we stay in step with one another, the easier it is to stay in step with Him. And we don't have competing agendas. And the Lord's answering your prayer and our staff. Our staff's unified, and we believe in what God is doing and what He's saying for us. And we're just trying to handle what He's laying out, right?
That's
We're not out there.
That's so awesome.
And when God's at work, you don't feel like you got to go chase other things, because you can just, I got enough to do what the Lord has put in front of us than to go chase other things. So I think the Lord is answering your prayer.
Awesome.
I love the call of God into other people and to pull those things out of them. And I see that. I think that's part of the DNA and the culture of Connection Point. And even more so, I think He wants to lean even more into that kind of a thing with people. So it's so exciting to me. Glad you are here. And glad you're going to stay and stick with us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to stick with you.
Yeah, awesome.
You stick with me.
Yeah, we're family, man.
And we'll be good.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be good.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. Hope you feel inspired. And I hope you will stick with us. I hope you will be part of this great thing. You never will know what God will do ultimately through a group of people who just band together.
Yes.
12 people turn the world upside down. What could we do through the power of God? So thanks so much for being here. You guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Beyond Sunday. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Beyond Sunday podcast. We invite you to join the conversation and share your thoughts at connectionpointchurch.org/Beyond Sunday. Spread the word and share this podcast with others. Stay inspired and connected as we explore faith beyond Sunday.